So I recently had a conversation with a couple in their mid-40s. And to be honest, it's a conversation I have very regularly with people at this age. They were doing all the right things. They were earning good money, they were saving regularly into their pensions, and they had a great handle on how much they were spending. But the question they asked me was, are we actually on target with our pensions? Because the problem is, when you look at your pension pot size, it's very difficult to actually know A, if you're on target, and B, how much income could this actually produce when it comes to retirement? Now, a 200,000 pension pot sounds great at age 40, but how about age 50? How about age 30? So in this video, I'm going to talk you through exactly how much pension pot you should have at each age. So we'll start by looking at how much a comfortable retirement actually costs. Then we'll move on to a pension pot size that's actually going to produce that amount of income for you when it comes to retirement. And then finally, we'll look at how much you want to have saved at each age on average to ensure you're on target to get to that point by age 60. But if you're new here, my name's Ben, I'm a financial planner, and my aim is to help as many people as possible gain more clarity and confidence around their retirement planning and their personal finances. Okay, so let's actually look at how much a comfortable retirement might actually cost you in the UK. Now, there are so many reports and bits of research out there that suggest so many different numbers, but on average, you would expect that a couple in the UK probably needs somewhere between £3,000 to £3,500 a month net of tax in retirement to actually have a comfortable level of retirement. So let's work on the assumption that you're going to be spending £3,500 a month in retirement. So that's £42,000 a year. And again, this is the net of tax figure. Now, the key thing to mention at this point is that you haven't got to fund that £42,000 alone, because for most people, if they've worked for the majority of their lives, are going to have the full state pension entitlement, which, as we stand today, is about £12,000 per person. And that starts from age 67. So again, assuming you're in a couple and you've both got the full state pension entitlement, you've got a guaranteed income there from age 67 of £24,000. Therefore, that means that from age 67, you've only actually got to find £18,000 a year from your pensions. Now, clearly, if we are looking to retire at age 60, there is a 7-year gap there between when you retire and when a state pension starts. So for that 7 years, that £42,000 will all be coming from your pensions. Okay, so now we've looked at how much a comfortable retirement actually costs and factored in the state pension. Now let's look at how much pension pot you actually need to fund that lifestyle. Now, what I've done here is use historical market data based on a balanced portfolio of about 60% equities and 40% bonds. Now, typically you would expect to have that level of income when it comes to retirement. You need a pension pot at age 60 between you of somewhere between £700,000 to £800,000. So for the purposes of the video, I'm going to use £750,000. The next thing to do is actually look at the type of person we're actually modelling this for. Now, what I've done is I've taken the average salary in the UK as we stand today, which is about £40,000. So I've assumed that each of you will be earning £40,000 a year from now until you retire. And again, all of these figures are adjusted for inflation. I've also assumed you're each contributing the minimum into your pensions, so that's 8%, and that's 5% from you and 3% from your employer. Therefore, between you, there's about £6,500 a year going into your pensions. Okay, so now we've established what a comfortable retirement looks like and the pension pot size you need. Let's now look at how much you realistically need at each age to be on target to actually get to that £750,000 when it comes to age 60. So starting at age 30, now obviously by this point you've probably been working for 5 or 10 years, depending on if you've gone to university or if you've gone straight into a job. So at this point you probably want to be aiming for somewhere around £80,000 between you. Now, the split between the two of you doesn't make a huge difference. So one of you might have £50,000, the other might have £30,000. But the important thing really is to actually look at this as a combined value. And that figure is £80,000. Moving on to age 35, that figure is £130,000. At age 40, that's £200,000. At age 45, it's £300,000. At age 50, it's £400,000. And at age 55, it's £550,000. And based on historical market data, investing in a balanced portfolio, earning the current UK average salary, that will put you on target to actually have a pension pot size of about £750,000 when it comes to age 60. Now, one thing we haven't factored in here, and the one thing that makes a massive difference to how much you have in your pension, is actually the risk level. Now, what I mean by that is, based on the level of risk you're taking within your pension, can have a huge impact on how much that grows over time. Therefore, this means that the amount you need at each age can be more or less, depending on the risk level you're taking. So what I've done is I've put on screen how much your pension pot size needs to be on average at each age, depending on the risk you're taking with your pension. And you can see this has a huge impact. So if you're taking a more cautious approach to investing, you're going to need a lot more saved in your pension earlier, because clearly if you're being more cautious over a long time frame, you would expect that pension pot to grow by a lot less. Now, conversely, if you're taking a more adventurous level of risk with your pension, you would expect that over a long time horizon, you're going to get better returns. Therefore, the amount you need in your pension at each age is reduced. Now, clearly at this point, it's worth pointing out that if you are taking a higher level of risk, you would expect that over that time frame, you are going to see more volatility and fluctuations within your pension. What it does mean is that you actually need to save a lot less into your pension to actually still hit that £750,000 when it comes to age 60. So what you really want to be doing is asking yourself, am I happy and comfortable accepting that trade-off? So accepting the fact that over the short term, you are going to see a lot more ups and downs, and that may cause you some anxiety. But if it means you actually need to be saving less into your pension, is it worth it? Okay, so if you're looking at those figures and thinking, we're quite far behind those benchmarks, what I would suggest you do is actually think about what you can do to actually start making sure you are on track. So whether that's increasing pension contributions, working longer, or perhaps actually adjusting how much you need in retirement. So what you can do is check out the financial clarity system that I've put together. And you can find a link to this in the description below. What this allows you to do is you can put in your own details. So your own age, what your income is, how much you've got in your pensions already, and what you're contributing. The system will then show you if you are on track or off track for retirement. Now, if you're off track, it will give you various options to actually ensure you become on track. Whether that's increasing pension contributions, taking a slightly higher level of risk with your pension to actually ensure you get better long-term returns, or perhaps adjusting your retirement income slightly to ensure you can retire when you want to. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope you got some value from it. If you did, please do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.